just looking at some of the stats concerning the side, the post-World Cup form has not been as good as the pre-World Cup form. Why is this the case? Are they feeling the pressure?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, there's a little bit of pressure. But the problem is they set such a cracking level at the start of the season. I mean, they were virtually flawless. So that's why it's very difficult to keep that level going. Such a young squad. I think these are the two youngest teams in the league as well, by the way, playing here today. So for me, I just think there was always going to be a little drop-off. A couple of injuries have kicked in. But the key is you've got to get to the line. And you know what? Let's talk about pressure, because we've both played, Franny, haven't we? Pressure's good and bad at times.
Yeah, we were speaking a little bit beforehand, weren't we, saying I'd much rather have the pressure of an Arsenal scenario than the pressure of a Southampton situation. I've been there as a player with Saints in the past as well. Literally going into last day of the seasons, you know, you're biting your fingernails, you're thinking your status as a Premier League team is on the line. It's all those concerns about not just you as a player, but the impact it has on the club, the community, the environment around you. It can be huge, you know, losing that status. So, yeah, very much would be, there's pressure at both ends, for sure, but I'd much rather have the Arsenal one at this moment in time.
Directly behind you, I know you can't see, is Mikel Arteta. He's talking to some of the other reporters here. What do you think he's going to be feeling as the manager? Because he has to show how it's done in the dressing room. He is setting the example, but deep inside, what's going through his mind?
To be honest with you, Adam, I think Mikel Arteta's done such a great job with this Arsenal side. The fact of the matter is, they're still, 9-10 unbeaten? You know, you could say they've dropped points in the last two games, but they're still unbeaten. They're still on a run. So what he has to do, he's got to believe in his coaching staff, he's got to believe in what he's asking the players to do. And when you're at home, you've got to bring the points back. That's the key to it now. You know the next two games, this one first, and then the next one after this is crucial. So getting them 3 points is so important.
And what he's done as a manager, I mean, you know, when you cast your mind back, and Kev, you just touched on it, didn't you? That, like, I think probably all of us, there was lots of talk early on in the season. It's like, well, when are Arsenal going to fall away? Yeah. When are they going to drop off? Okay, they may have had that little blip recently, but as you say, that's going to happen at some stage, and there's injuries and reasons for that. But as a manager and as a club, they've been consistent right from the start of the season. And you've got to admire everything that he's doing as a manager and his staff, but also the players as well.
We also have to factor in Manchester City, the fact that they're on an absolutely brilliant run. The two sides are going to face each other next week, and if Arsenal get all 3 points here today, sorry, Franny, I'm saying if yep. It'll be 7 points between themselves and City, because City are playing in the FA Cup this weekend.
Yeah.
And I saw a quote here from Mikel Antonio, who's a current Premier League player who was up against the Gunners last week, and he said, I've heard this from someone who works at Arsenal all season. They've been concentrating on themselves last week. Last week was the first time all season that this person heard players start talking about City and how well City have been playing. City might be getting in their heads.
Well, Adam, here's what I will say. The closer you get to that finish line, you're looking at everybody and you're looking at everything. Listen, if you're not spoke about it all season and this is the first time you're speaking about it, I think the people behind the scenes have done a good job. Because at some stage you're going to speak about it, because you've got a juggernaut who's won 4 of the last 5 Premier Leagues chasing you down. And you know what, Adam? Bring it on. Because if you want to get to the promised land, you've got to take their crown.
I think you're right. You know, I mean, Man City are almost like going up through the gears at the moment, aren't they? They've been there, they've done it before. They've got an incredible manager and playing squad as well, as we know. They're fighting on a few fronts, aren't they? So maybe the fixtures that they have might play a little bit of a part.
Pep said they're exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of football, But he's got quality and he's got depth in the squad as well. What I like about Arsenal is the fact that there's like a fearlessness with the youngsters in the group as well, the players that have come through the academy. And that sprinkling and that ingredient of like the experienced players being brought in, Arteta doing his work with the staff, with the players as well, is an ingredient that has just worked all season. And you know, from a Saints perspective, I hate to say it, but it's going to be a very, very difficult night tonight, and especially the position we're in.